Alright, so I guess I'm gonna tell you about the time I did acid. Also, the only time I did acid. Because fuck acid.
It was a mistake.
It was a mistake, yes.
It was a huge fucking mistake, and she regrets it fully.
Yes, I do. So, I was at a friend's house, right? We were chilling. Everything was fine.
You were smoking weed at first.
Yes, because, stoner. And my friend's older sister comes in the room. And it was basically just like, hey, you want to try acid? And we were like, sure. I mean, I'm staying here, not going anywhere. We're good. The effects hadn't kicked in. And then I get a text from my grandma. And she's like, hey, there's something wrong with me. Come to the hospital with me so that when they give me pain medication, I can say that you're driving. Because that's what adults do.
Yeah, my mom does that.
And I was like, oh shit, I don't think I can do that, Grandma. And she's like, why can't you? And I'm like, no reason. I guess I'll go.
Trying not to disclose that you were on acid, even though it was very fucking obvious you were on acid.
She didn't know that.
It's like that clip from Leafy's Here's LSD video. I don't want to say it was obvious that I was on drugs, but motherfucker, it was very obvious that I was on drugs.
So my grandma comes and picks me up, right? And on the car ride there, I'm just chilling.
And then you can feel it hit.
Yeah, I can feel it. And I'm like, oh fuck, this is acid. And I'm like looking out at the street lamps, lights, you know what I'm talking about? And they are becoming not street lights.
What do you mean they're becoming not streetlights?
They are just morphing into creatures that shouldn't exist. And I was just like, this doesn't seem very pleasant. I want it to stop already. And all the while, my grandma is trying to talk to me. And at first, as I'm watching the street lamps morph into unholy creatures, I faintly hear my grandma trying to talk to me, and I turn my head, and it's just like, whoa, you've been speaking to me this whole time. What were you? I just looked at her, and I was like, huh? And she's like, did you not hear anything I just said? I was like, no, I did not. And I quickly looked away from her for the fear that I would watch my grandma morph into something that she shouldn't. Really didn't want to experience that. And I just continued to stare out the window. It was a very regrettable situation. We got to the hospital.
And this is where the real fun begins.
Oh, God. My grandma was, like, signing in. And I'm just, like, trying to keep my head down to the floor so that, like, the people can't tell that I'm on acid.
I don't want to say it was obvious I was on drugs, but motherfucker, it was very obvious that I was on drugs.
And I was in a hospital on drugs. And I wasn't at the hospital because I was on drugs. And it was a very weird scenario. I'm pretty sure that they could all tell I was very much on drugs. But, you know, for my ego's sake, I don't think they did. I just kept my eyes to the floor. And, like, the tiles, like, became, like, worms. They were, like, have you ever watched James and the Giant Peach?
Yeah.
You know those little, like, neon green little hoppy bugs?
Yeah.
That were magic?
Yeah.
It looked like that.
Ugh.
But also, it was like a mix of that And then that weird, like, snake game that people played. That was really popular. You know, like, if you got touched by another snake, it, like, you died.
Yeah.
And they had to collect, like, the thing that you left behind to get bigger. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Slitherio?
Yeah, that. It was like the James and the Giant Peach Bugs met that game. And it was happening on the tiles on the floor. And I'm pretty sure that they could all tell I was high. Not so much, well, I was also high. I smoked a lot of weed. I remember my grandma, like, shaking me, like, hey, come on, let's go sit down. And I was just kind of like, whoa, I zoned out. We sat down, and I was just, I don't know how to explain being on acid. Or, like, what it feels like. Because it's just, I don't like it.
It felt weird.
Yeah.
Like the worst kind of weird.
Yeah. I don't like hallucinogenics. I don't know why I tried acid. It was a bad idea. I remember sitting in those fucking uncomfortable as fuck chairs with my grandma, waiting for the doctor or one of the nurses to bring us back to a room. At one point, I was looking down on my lap, and my chair, like, grew arms. And I remember I could feel my eyes going all, like, wide, like, holy shit.
That's not supposed to be happening.
Yeah, I was like, that doesn't happen. That shouldn't happen.
This isn't happening.
And I, like, kind of freak out, and I look up to the wall. And there, on the wall, is Johnny Cash's face. Don't ask me why I saw Johnny Cash's face. Because I cannot tell you. But there it was. Looking at me all smiley, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Didn't you say originally that it looked like it was pushing through the wallpaper?
Yeah.
So it was like part of the wallpaper?
Yeah, Johnny Cash's face was on the wall. Or was like part of the wall.
It was in the wall.
His face was in the wall. It was disturbing. And, like, I could see these other things, like, also pushing through the wall. You know, Johnny Cash and his wall friends.
That's my favorite part of this story.
Johnny Cash and his wall friends. Oh, God.
You saw other things pushing through the wall.
Yeah. This brings back bad memories. It was not a good experience.
Didn't you say, like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. It was just, dude, what the fuck? Huh? My grandma was like, who are you talking to?
And of course you can't tell her that you're seeing Johnny Cash's face in the wall.
No, I cannot. So I just looked at her, and in the most serious voice I could muster, went, myself. And she just, okay. Like, it wasn't really fucking weird that I was talking to myself. I guess, man, that is a lot about my personality. My grandma is just, okay, when I tell her that I'm talking to myself. Like, this is clearly something I have done multiple times that she has heard and is no longer surprised. This entire time, I have tried very hard not to look at my grandma. Because if there is one thing I do not want to see, it's something strange happening to my grandma. So, this entire time, I have not looked my grandma in the eye. Like, I have kept my head down. Or facing some other direction.
That was not at her.
Yeah. At this point, I did not want to see any people turning into something weird. Like, I've already seen Johnny Cash's face.
Oh, you didn't talk about his wall friends.
Oh, his wall friends!
Yeah, you said you started seeing things moving around, like, next to the face.
Yeah.
And you said, dude, what the fuck? And he goes, they're my friends.
Hearing Johnny Cash, seeing him at a wall, telling me that they're his friends.
And you went, holy fuck, Johnny Cash has wall friends.
It was a fucking fucked up experience. I think my brain has tried to block it out.
Which is why I'm remembering this better than you, even though you told me this story and I wasn't here. Like, you hadn't even met me yet.
Yeah. My brain most definitely is trying to cut this story out because I don't like it.
So this whole time you haven't been looking at your grandma.
Yeah. You know, I've been more distracted by Johnny Cash and his wall friends. Him and his weird purple tongue.
Oh, you didn't talk about that?
Yeah. He, like, opened his mouth at one point. And he had, like, a purple, like, snake tongue. It was weird. Things were happening to Johnny Cash that should not happen to Johnny Cash. I don't even like Johnny Cash. I've never listened to any of his songs.
But you know what he looks like.
Yeah, because my family, I grew up on country music, okay? We are rednecks. And then me and my grandma eventually go back to the room.
Right? You know you get called back by a nurse.
Yeah. And before I sit down, I look at my chair. My chair is doing something that it should not be doing. And that something is breathing.
Wasn't the bed also breathing?
Yes. But my chair was breathing too. And I just was like, I don't want to sit in that. I really don't want to sit in that. I don't think I want to sit on something that's breathing. And then, once again, the chair had hands. I don't know what's with my brain and chairs having hands.
Sit in me, Rayvin.
Ah! Vietnam flashbacks. I was like, I really don't want to sit in that. My grandma is just like, why haven't you? What are you staring at? Why haven't you sat down in the chair yet? I'm just like, no reason. And then I quickly sit down, and I just feel like a shiver of disgust hit my body as I sit down in this breathing hand chair.
Breathing hand chair.
And then I look at the bed, and my grandma is sitting on it, right?
Yeah.
And the bed is breathing. And I look at it, and out loud, I say, "Why can't you not breathe like the other things in this room?" And my grandma hears this and goes, "Did you just tell me to stop breathing?" And me, I think my cover is blown. I'm like, oh shit, she can tell. But really, she was just like, man, you must be really in your head today. And I'm just like, yeah.
You just tell me to stop breathing.
All the while, I have not made eye contact with my grandma. I don't think I did it all that night. Because I really didn't want to see my grandma transform into something. I'm uncomfortable. things are breathing that shouldn't be breathing.
The chair has hands.
The chair has hands.
Johnny Cash is in the wall with his wall friends and his snake tongue.
Luckily he's not in the bedroom wall. The room that we were in wall. He was just out in the lobby. Cause you know, Johnny Cash and his wall friends have to greet you.
They should be Walmart greeters.
Oh my god. Me, if I worked at Walmart, I would tell the guests about the Johnny Cash in the wall. You stare at it long enough, Johnny Cash will emerge from the wall.
You would get drug tested instantly and would be like, well, you're not on any hallucinogenics, however, we have found a lot of weed in your system.
Yeah, I smoked myself to the point that the weed turned to acid.
So you accidentally told the bed to stop breathing out loud and your grandma went, did you just tell me to stop breathing?
Yeah, so here I am, sitting in this breathing chair, incredibly uncomfortable.
Because it has hands.
Yeah, and also it was breathing.
Can't emphasize enough that it was fucking breathing.
The bed was also breathing, and my grandma's sitting on it, and I just watched the bed, like, breathe for a while. It's a dire time. My grandma is trying to talk to me about something, but she's just rambling off on her own, and none of it is hitting my ears at all. I can, like, faintly hear her, but I swear to God, I cannot make out a single thing that she said to me. And I look out the doorway, and, like, straight from the fucking, what the fuck is that movie called? Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
You know, the lobby scene.
Lizard people. Now, I don't know about you, but lizard people dressed as nurses is a fucking weird sight. All I could think about is how I don't think lizard people would be nurses. Shouldn't they be out, like, killing something? I don't know. Also, all I could think about is, what's next? Giant flies?
And lo and behold, the doctor comes in.
I refuse to make eye contact with this man. I just keep my head down.
'Cause you knew some shit was gonna happen.
Yeah, and, like, also, he was a doctor, and I'm pretty sure if he took one good look at me,
he'd see acid in your eyes.
He would know. So I was, like, incredibly paranoid. Like, if he looks at me, if I make eye contact with this man,
he will know.
He will know that I am on acid right now.
Using his doctor senses.
Yes, using his magical doctor senses. You know, his spidey senses are tingling.
My drug sentences are tingling. Sentences, oh fuck me.
At this point, I really just wanted to go to sleep. I was like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm not having fun. Things are breathing that should not be breathing. These hands are touching me.
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash was in the fucking wall. I want...
Still don't know what happened to the lamppost creatures, wherever they are.
They probably evaporated into the fucking sky or some hippie shit like that.
They're Siren Head now.
Don't ever give me that sight again.
So you're tired.
Yeah, I'm extremely tired. I want to go home. Like, I don't even give two shits about my friend right now. I just want to go to sleep. I just want to go home. And my grandma, she gets what she wants. We were there for a very long time. Or what, for me, seemed like a very long time. We probably weren't there that long. You know, I'm just looking at the floor at this point, like, I don't want to see anything else. But, like, once again, the floor starts doing weird things.
What was it doing this time? Or was it doing the bug thing again?
No, it wasn't doing the bug thing again. The tiles started, like, levitating and stuff. Which was less weird than the weird bug thing. But still very weird.
Was it like the SpongeBob time travel episode where Squidward lifted up one of the tiles on the bottom of the time machine and, like, floated into the ceiling? God.
Yeah. So I'm just watching these tiles.
Fucking levitate.
It looked like a game of fucking Tetris. Tile Tetris. And I remember my grandma just being like, come on, let's go. And I snap out of it. And I look at her. And God, I regret everything.
This is a part of the story that I haven't heard yet. Or at least I don't remember being told.
My grandma was not my grandma. My grandma was Johnny Cash.
Uh-oh.
My grandma. Johnny Cash had come back to haunt me. I looked at my grandma. And I was like, ah.
Did you say that out loud?
Yeah.
Oh.
And my grandma, aka Johnny Cash, just looks at me really confused. And my grandma's voice, mind you. This is still my grandma's voice. So in my grandma's voice, Johnny Cash went, what is wrong with you? And I look at her and go, so many things. Please take me home now. And she goes, are you sick? Do you want to stay and get some help? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. Take me home. I want to go to bed. She's like, do you want me to give you something? Do you want to take something? And I'm like, no. Home, now, please.
Phone home, motherfucker.
And Johnny Cash, as my grandma, was just like, okay, let me grab my purse. So Johnny Cash grabbed my grandma's purse. And I followed Johnny Cash out of the hospital and into our car. There was a truck at the time, and in the back of that truck was a dragon. And when I saw that dragon, all I could think was, how is the truck gonna move? How much does that dragon weigh? It's definitely gotta weigh more than the truck. This doesn't seem logical.
Can you describe the dragon?
No.
No?
It was like one of those cartoon dragons from like that weird... Remember how there was that fucking... There was one cartoon as a kid that involved a dragon. Can't remember what it was. But
Dragon Tales?
Yes. It's one of those. I didn't watch a lot of Dragon Tales as a kid.
Which one was it?
I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I did not watch a lot of Dragon Tales as a kid. But,
Thanks, James.
of course, my brain supplies me with, what the fuck is logic right now? Like, we are on acid. How does any of this surprise you?
After a while, didn't your brain just check the fuck out?
Yeah. On our drive back, my grandma stole Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash is driving you home.
Johnny Cash is driving me home. And the car ride was silent. And I just remember I was laying back in the seat, just eyes closed, because I didn't want to see anything anymore. Like, my grandma was Johnny Cash.
There's a dragon in the bed of the truck.
The fucking streets are turning into, like, fucking, you know those games where, like, the tiles, the different, like, square tiles are, like, all different colors. If you touch one, it makes a sound or something? You know what I'm talking about?
Are you telling me that the road became Dance Dance Revolution?
Yes, it did. So that was entertaining, at least. But also I just really wanted to go back to sleep. In my brain, I was just like, I don't give a fuck anymore. We're tired. Johnny Cash is driving us home. I have a headache. I'll text my friend in the morning, because she's going to be very confused as to why I'm not coming back to her house.
Ever again. Didn't you say that you never talked to her again after that?
Yeah. I don't even remember what the fuck her name is. Honestly, it's been a while. Mind you, I did this when I was like 15. I remember getting home. At the time, my dog Rodney, he was a big black lab. I remember looking at him for just a short second because I didn't want my brain to change my precious doggo into something horrifying. But he had snakes for tails. He had a snake for a tail.
That's kind of badass, not gonna lie.
It was one of the... I only looked at him for like 2 seconds, and it was just, that's not your tail. I need to go to sleep. My grandpa was like, ooh, what the fuck are you doing home? You got scared or something? And I just remembered, no. Just no. And then I walked into my room, and I closed the door, and I just stripped naked and fell on my bed. And I laid on my stomach in the wrong direction. My head was not on the pillows, my feet were. I was butt naked. I remember just pulling the blanket over top of me. So, like, the blanket was, like, fully covering the bed and me, like, completely. So it looked like my bed was made. And I was not in it. And I just passed the fuck out. And I remember that morning, or like 3 o'clock in the afternoon when I woke up, mind you, I think when we got home, it was like 1 in the morning. So I slept for a very, very long time. Well, I remember when I woke up, my grandma came into the room. She didn't come in the room, she opened the door. And she was confused. She couldn't see me. And she goes, Rayvin? And I remember just lifting my head up. I still had the blanket over top of me. So I just lifted my head up, and you could see the end of the blanket rising up. And I just go, the fuck you want? She goes, why are you laying like that? And I go, laying like what? She goes, you're upside down. I go, oh. I go, oh. Oops. Get out.